Hello, everyone. Welcome to Lunch for the Soul. I'm happy you're with me today. This is a time for us to all reflect, to learn from one another. And I have an incredible guest today. And she is such a brave young woman to share her very personal story. And I feel like her message can help so many people because this is a problem that has become an epidemic across our country. And I'm talking about opioid and other types of drug addictions. It's a very real problem that happens to people every day. Maybe they go in for surgery, they get some pain medication. The next thing they know, they can't stop no matter what they do. And unfortunately, she knows what that pattern is like, but she also knows what it's like to get out of that and to get on the other side of it. So please, I want to say, put your hands together when we welcome our guest, Sarah. Hi, Sarah. Thank you for
Hi,
joining me today for Lunch for the Soul.
absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Well, you have a dramatic testimony to share, and I want to commend you for being able to talk about it because I think a lot of times it's easy for us to just sweep these things under the rug and just go about our lives, but you're trying to help other people. So thank you for that.
Yes, absolutely.
Your journey started when you were in college, of all places. I'm sure college life can get very stressful. What happened?
So I was at my senior year of college and I had a lot to juggle between, trying to do my internship, volunteering, going to school full time. And then also my senior year, I was commuting 2 hours there and back. So with everything going on, I knew some friends and they had amphetamines, Adderall. And so I started using that at first, just thinking it would help me with school. It would help me get through my last semester, push through, so I could finally get my degree, my work towards my future.
Hmm. And let's talk about how that happened. So, I mean, life was just getting really, really stressful. So you're doing everything you can to try to perhaps make yourself feel better through it all. It, it, it probably in the beginning it did, but then after a while it absolutely did not, right?
Yes, it got really exhausting even with using Adderall. It was like I wasn't able to sleep. I wasn't getting any sleep. I wasn't, eating a lot. It was just a nonstop, using, getting up, going to school, and eventually it got too much, towards the end, especially with my mental health, not treating that, my anxiety and depression, with using that, affected that a lot.
Yeah. I want to go back and just you sent me some beautiful pictures and there are a lot of them are of you and when you were younger and you look so happy and none of us ever think this looks like it's a Christmas time, a magical time of year when you're a kid, and none of us think it's ever going to happen to us. But ask anybody and they'll tell you, oh yes, my best friend, my cousin, my mom. I mean, the list goes on, right, of how severe this is. When you look back at your childhood, did were you ever told about the dangers of drugs or what it could do, or was that not even a conversation you would ever have when you were a child?
So my real dad is actually has addiction and things like that, but it wasn't taught to me as addiction, and it was more so just don't be like your dad. It wasn't really like a big thing, because he didn't raise me, so I didn't
Mhm.
get a big talk about it. But obviously it was never. I was never told to do drugs, but it was never really like a big, conversation about not doing it. It was
Mhm.
more, like I said, just don't be like your father. You see what happened to him,
Yeah.
being in and out of jail and different things like that. So that was kind of more of the topic, than really explaining to me, okay, it can lead to addiction, it can
Mhm.
lead to this, that, and the other thing. I didn't even understand it until I went to rehab later on in life that I had addiction. I just didn't know what was wrong with me when I got caught in the disease.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about what happened along the way. So you're dealing with this drug addiction, and then you find out you're pregnant, and I know that you wanted everything you could to protect that baby, and that's what you did, right? You went on your own to try to get off of drugs. That had to be so difficult to pull off because sometimes withdrawal can actually be deadly.
Yes. So by the time that I had got pregnant with my daughter, I was already addicted to opiates. And when I got addicted to opiates, those withdrawals are, very, very severe. So it was like I was caught in between. I wanted to ask for help, but I was afraid that I would lose her. And I was afraid to stop because I was afraid I would lose her. But I knew that if I didn't eventually stop, I was going to lose her no matter what by the time she
Mhm.
was born. So I just had to do what I could, go through those withdrawals, and suck it up so that way I didn't lose her. And I thought that would be enough doing it on my own. You know, I still didn't know about resources or anything like that that could help me at the
Hmm.
time. So
But
I,
you
I
did
did
it.
try to
You pulled it
try.
off and you had a
Yeah.
healthy baby girl. That had to be the biggest relief for you, knowing that because you loved your child so much, you were able to pull that off. I know it had to be very difficult.
Yes, that was probably the best part. You know, I was nervous when I gave birth. I was nervous something would be wrong. Even on the ultrasounds, nothing looked wrong or anything like that. I was very nervous that my addiction during the beginning part of the pregnancy would affect
Mhm.
her at birth.
And then you were able to remain sober, so to speak, for a while and off of drugs, right? And then
Yeah.
I know that postpartum depression can hit a whole lot of people, but you did deal with some postpartum issues, and that sort of puts you in a spiral again of needing to feel that, relief, I guess, through drugs.
Yeah, so after having her, you know, about a year, you know, I wasn't working. I was inside the house. COVID had happened. And so everyone was on lockdown. And after that, you know, I really just, I didn't know another way. I didn't get help yet. So all I knew was, okay, I could turn back to drugs and they would help save me or make me feel better or make all this um, feeling of having no purpose or no future disappear. They would just remove that, you know. And so I ended up turning back to drugs about a year after I had her.
And then that's when your mom said, and I want to say that it seems like you have a very supporting mother who loved you so much, who loved
Yeah.
your own daughter so much, but wanted to protect you and her. And
Yes.
so she did what she could to help make sure that your daughter was safe. And I know that had to be incredibly difficult as well.
Yes, so actually at first, it was really difficult when I found out that my mom had called CPS on me.
Mhm.
You know, but when they came, I was honest, but not fully honest. You know, I told them I needed help. I didn't tell them how much or what exactly I was using, but I did tell them I needed help. You know, because at that point I felt like, you know, I had failed as a mother. I was failing as a person, you know, having no future or not doing anything further with my life. And I was ready to get help because I felt like help showed up on my store
Mhm.
on my doorstep by them asking, you know, can we help her? But by them being there, it was a lot easier to ask for help than telling my mom that I needed help. You know, I didn't want to disappoint my mother. So when they showed up, I was like, okay, I know they can help me.
Yeah. And that's when you found some really incredible help. And I got to come to the most amazing home in Houston. Even as a medical reporter, I'd never heard of this before through UTHealth. What an incredible program it is where you can go to a safe haven, a beautiful home, and
Hmm.
live with other women who help make sure that you're all loving on and supporting each other and protecting your hearts together, right? How big of a deal and a change was that in your life?
That's, I think, one of the main reasons why I'm still sober today. You know, being able to go to that step after leaving rehab and
Mhm.
having support there and having people around me that understood me. As much as my mom's supportive, she doesn't understand addiction, you know, but the girls that are in that house with me,
Yeah.
you know, they understand it. The manager, they're able to help you because they've been through things similar to what I've been through. They may not have the same exact story as me, but their story is very similar and they understand what I've been through and the pain that I've gone through and just the different struggles that I've gone through in life and that I'm fighting to try to get my life back and to have a purpose again and to get back to where my future was before, you know, addiction started and everything like that. So it's really, really helpful to have that support right there and have a group of girls that you can talk to about the things you're going through on a day-to-day basis.
Well, I was really enthralled to be able to talk to Dr. Wilkerson. I'm sure you've probably gotten to know him through
Yes.
UT. He's the one who's really been investigating this and working with another investigator. And they've really been talking to different homes throughout the country where they have pulled this off so successfully. They've learned what works, what doesn't work. And it sounds like what this situation where you're put on different medications that make sure you don't have those withdrawal symptoms, plus have this supportive community is what's working.
Yes, having that at the very beginning of your recovery where, you know, having those triggers and having those cravings at the very beginning, it's very, very helpful to have that because it removes that beginning part of What I've always had before was, cravings and triggers and different things like that. You still have the triggers, but it doesn't necessarily make you crave to go back out. So having that
Mhm.
support and that medication at the very beginning is very, very helpful to recovery, to help you just jump into working your steps, working a program, and getting the help you need, maybe therapy or whatever it is that you choose with your recovery. It's very, very helpful.
Well, did it ever work for you? We get to see now that you're back
Yeah.
with your daughter. You have custody of this precious child,
Yeah.
and it's all because of your hard work, because the love of a mother and your dedication to make yourself better. Now her life is better. What does it feel like to know that you have come this far?
It feels truly amazing. It actually makes me emotional to think about how far I've come. That was my big thing when I surrendered and I went to treatment, was the fact that, I wanted to be a better mom for my daughter and I wanted her to have a better life. And I knew as long as I stayed in my addiction, I would never be able to provide that for her. I was
Mhm.
able to go back to school and finish my degree since I did have to drop out. And I can provide a good life for her now. And that feeling and knowing that I can, be there physically and mentally, at the same time, not just physically, is just, it's an amazing feeling to know that I get to be there for my daughter today. I don't have to choose something
Yeah.
different. I have the choice of choosing to be a mom today, and it's amazing.
Well, and you went back and you finished that college degree that you'd been working so hard on before your pregnancy. How good does it feel to be finished with that and now to have a professional job?
It feels amazing. At one point I was worried I would never go back, and get that degree because of my addiction. I felt like I was just going to be stuck, in that continuing, disease of addiction, and not be able to find that future. But this time, I was able to go back because I was sober, because I had a program, and because I had that purpose in life, to go back, and knowing that no one can take that away from me now, and I just have to keep making the right decisions. It feels amazing.
Mhm. And there are, from what I understand from Dr. Wilkerson, there's 4 homes in the greater Houston area. So we're talking 2 for men, 2 for women. And it's incredible how the government is actually paying for these, funding it to make sure that you have everything you need there to make a difference. And he's certainly hoping that expands to more. With the House of Extra Measures, what do you do now there as a paid job to help out?
So I do a lot of administrative and business development. So I reach out to different facilities,
Mhm.
and I, try to contact to get, us to get more referrals for more clients. So that way more people know
Mhm.
about the houses. I also do updating of our house standards, our policies, different things like that. And then I also get to work with some of the houses one on one and some of the residents, and get to talk to them and see what they want from the house, from the program. What do they want for their future, and how we can help, set them up for success.
And I was so intrigued when I got to come there to even see Bible verses throughout the home. And it seems like that your faith played a role in helping keep you not only make those important strides in your life to make a difference, but then just to keep it up today. Tell me about that journey.
So faith played a very, very big part of, me getting clean, and sober and staying that way. I had to realize that I had to surrender, to something greater than myself, my higher power, and allow and have that faith and truly practice it, giving up the reins and giving up that control, and continuing to believe that, my God wants something greater for me, and He has a purpose for me. He didn't get me this far to not have a purpose, and I just had to continue to believe in that and trust in that, and continue to, have that faith. Otherwise, I would be lost without having that faith that there's something greater for me in this world.
I find that a lot of times when I interview people who've been through really tough like times like this, they tend to lose their faith sometimes. But it seems like so many times it comes full circle, right? And they
Yeah.
can see so much that they felt like God was actually watching over their life through it all. And they feel like, wow, the only reason I'm probably still alive is because I had
Mhm.
that, right? Do you ever feel those feelings after all you've been through?
Yes. So, at the very, before I probably got clean or sober, I didn't necessarily have, faith as strong as I did. I didn't know. I thought I believed, but I didn't know. I was kind of just unsure, I guess. But after finding out that once using fentanyl and still being alive today, that has to be an act of God. Otherwise, I don't know how I would still be here today. Obviously, I have a purpose, and God has a purpose for me, and being able to be here today makes me feel like I have to give that back, and I have to continue to practice my faith and purpose to be able to, be thankful and grateful for the life that I have today.
Well, and you have another big, exciting announcement.
Yeah.
And this is how you let the world, so to speak, know through this photo. So we'll let our
Yeah.
viewers for a moment just soak that up for a moment. So this is your precious girl telling everyone that you're having another baby.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Oh, you got
Yeah.
to be so excited. How is all that going?
Everything's going really, really well. I'm about 14 weeks today. I think the nausea's finally over.
That's a
That's
good
probably the worst
feeling.
part. Yes, but it feels good to be able to enjoy this pregnancy without having to worry about, am I going to lose my baby? Am I not? And I get to just really, truly sit back and enjoy it. I have a job. I have a house. I have those things that you need that some people take for granted. I didn't necessarily have that when I was pregnant with my daughter. I was fighting for my survival and the survival of my daughter. And today I don't have to do that. I get to just enjoy it and live through it and take every moment as precious. And I'm
Ah,
really excited about that.
just savoring it has to feel so good. Do
Yes.
you still, we've painted a beautiful picture of how far you've come. And I know that you took the medications that really help with those withdrawal symptoms, but do you ever still have tough days where you have to say, no, I'm not going to go back? Or do you, because I know a lot of addiction is sometimes you don't just get to wipe your hands clean and say, I'm done
Right.
forever, almost like, um, we see with an alcoholic that it's a lifelong thing. Is that how it is for you, or how are you now?
Yes, it's still a lifelong thing. There's good and bad days, but because I, continue to go to meetings and work a program and sponsor other girls, that really helps me stay in recovery, as well as obviously working in recovery is a big deal too. So I get to continue to practice recovery every day in my life. And if I have a bad day, I can go to a meeting and talk to other people about it and have that support, in NA, which is really very helpful to my recovery. So I don't have to do it alone today. I have a support system. I have people around me that care about me and understand the things that I'm going through, and I still have that support. So building that support system outside of the house when I left it, was a really big deal as well.
I mean, it just doesn't get any bigger of a blessing than that, right? To have, it's just like you all, to survive something like this, you do need all of those pieces of the puzzle put and fitting together perfectly to make it
Yeah.
happen like you have. Let's talk about the availability. There are spaces available at these homes throughout the state of Texas, right? Because I understand through Dr. Wilkerson that if you don't want to live in Houston and you want a fresh new start, you could even move with a child to some other ones in West
Yeah.
Texas where they accept mothers and children or
Yeah.
fathers
So
and children.
Yeah, so in Midland they have women and children actually. Here we just accept men and then women. The children can come visit sometimes, but they
Mhm,
can't stay in the home for good.
mhm.
But yes, there we have availability in our women's houses, and then every once in a while, the turnaround for the men. We do have some. Once people accomplish their goals and things like that,
Mhm.
the men's houses does have availability, but the men's houses tend to fill up a lot more than the women's. And I believe that's because women are trying to get home to their kids and different things like that. So they don't want to take that break in between. They got to assume a role that, society tells them, okay, get back to your kids, get back to doing this. That's just my opinion. Doesn't necessarily have to be true, but that's how I feel like it is for the women at least. And
And remind us about how many people are living in each home.
So there is 8 in the Melbourne house. There's 14 in the 23rd house. Those are both men's houses. And then there's 14 and 12 that can fit in the two women's houses.
Yeah, so we're talking a lot of space, and it's a beautiful healing space. The home is fabulous with big kitchen and a big living room, a pretty backyard. I was just so impressed and felt you can just almost feel the love in that home. And I'm so happy you're here to tell people about it so that they know this help from UTHealth is available. You're
Yes.
such a shining star, Sarah. Again, I'm so proud of how far you've come in your journey, and can't thank you enough for sharing something that was really difficult in your life, but to be so brave to talk about it. Way to go.
Thank you. Yes,
All
I'm
right. You
happy to
take care
share.
of yourself and stay in touch and let us know how you're doing.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. You take care of you.
You too. Bye.
Bye. And I just want to remind you all, if you have a story idea, you can always reach out to me, and you can always watch all of our Lunch for the Souls on Fox 26's YouTube page. So please go there, check it out. And as always, I want to ask you to join me next Wednesday, same place, same time. 12:30 is the place to be. And if you want to reach out, give me a shout and say, hey, I want to be featured. Probably the easiest way to reach me is melissa.wilson@fox.com. Hope to see you next time.